With little more than background music, Rebel Galaxy effectively creates a frontier atmosphere around its cinematic starship combat. That's appropriate for a game where you can follow the main quest, or set out in any direction and strike out on your own as a trader, miner, bounty hunter, or pirate in a huge, procedurally generated universe. It brought out my inner Han Solo for a great space adventure.
I am waiting.
Engines at maximum. Accelerator.
Most activities involve combat, either attacking other ships or defending yourself, so it's important that these 2D battles look and feel good. And they do, because all the weapons you aren't directly controlling at the time are manned by the AI. The constant barrage of fire makes these feel like big ships. They do move and maneuver a little too fast for positioning to feel really tactical, but using booster engines to line up your broadside cannons against the enemy's weakest shields, while blocking incoming fire with well-timed use of deflectors, will yield some rewarding, explosive results.
Down.
The biggest problem is that it's hard to know if an enemy ship poses a threat until it's already punched a hole in your hull. A threat indicator tips you off to how much danger you're in right now in general, but not specifically where it's coming from. There's a good variety of ships to fight and fly, and a decent selection of weaponry ranging from beams to flak to missiles and mines that allow for some mixing up of tactics. Most look great and have lots of character. That's good, because it makes up for the fact that factions have no personalities to speak of. Pirates are basically the same as the alien Greel, for instance, and they don't seem to have any agendas. Their unique voiceovers and talking heads are a nice touch, though.
I likes my prey to squirm.
The sound of your ship's warp drive spinning up and activating is fantastic. And flying through this vast but colorful and densely packed region of space is rarely dull. Even though it can take a couple of minutes to fly from one end of a solar system to another, there's usually a distress call or an unidentified signal to investigate. And space is huge too. Maps are made up of a dozen or so systems linked together by warp gates. One looks pretty much the same as the next, but each is uniquely populated with faction-controlled outposts. It could definitely be better at making it easy to find the outpost you're looking for, but it feels as big as space should, even though it's effectively two-dimensional. I love that commodity prices are dynamic, and can even be manipulated by intercepting convoys or destroying invading forces, but I found it difficult to make much headway as a trader, because it's kind of a crapshoot. Prices change day by day, but I have no idea how long an in-game day is. And if I get a hot tip that an outpost on the other side of the system is selling an item cheap, it's frustrating to get there and find out they only had one unit in stock. I was able to make some money in this line of work, but not nearly as much as by blowing stuff up. Rebel Galaxy's story isn't ambitious, and the characters aren't memorable despite some respectable voice acting. But the early main quest missions have some good flexibility that lets you pick between fighting or buying your way out of trouble. That trend goes away once you leave the starting system and you're forced into battle more and more, but for a while it lets you vary your playstyle. It took me about 20 hours to get to the end, mostly because you have to do a lot of side activities to upgrade your ship into something with enough punch. And once it's all over, you're free to continue your own adventures. In some ways it's a bare-bones game, but in the proud tradition of classics like Wing Commander, Privateer, and Freelancer, Rebel Galaxy makes a lot out of a little by giving you the freedom to captain your ship as you please and pursue your own fortune. It might not be as deep as it first appears, but its fun naval-style combat and vast explorable galaxy made me want to try out each of its differing playstyles, and kept me happily blasting away. For more on Rebel Galaxy, stick with IGN.
Missiles inbound. Craft inbound. Enemy craft inbound.